Kary Mullis won the Nobel Prize for inventing the polymerase chain reaction, or PCR. It is a chemical technique that allows scientists to clone DNA in massive quantities, and it made modern miracles like mapping the human genome possible. Mullis also believed he was once abducted by an alien, specifically a glowing extraterrestrial raccoon with shifty black eyes that he encountered in the woods of Northern California. He didn't stop there. He claimed people could travel through the ether on the astral plane, and he vocally rejected the scientific consensus that HIV virus causes AIDS. We assume that a high IQ and academic prestige guarantee rational judgment. If you possess the intellect to understand the complex machinery of human cells, you should be able to evaluate basic evidence. But Mullis proves that raw brain power offers zero protection against profound delusion. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle created Sherlock Holmes, the ultimate literary avatar of cold, calculating, logical deduction. Yet Conan Doyle himself was thoroughly and embarrassingly conned by two teenagers. They convinced the master of logic that fairies were real, using nothing but flat paper cutouts propped up in a garden. Then there is Paul Frampton, a world-class physicist who published highly respected theories on dark matter. He was tricked into smuggling 2 kilograms of cocaine across the Argentinian border by scammers posing as a bikini model online. Intelligence operates a lot like a car engine. A massive intellect gives you incredible horsepower, allowing you to process complex information quickly. But if you lack the right steering wheel or brakes, adding more horsepower just ensures you drive off the cliff much faster. Psychologists call this specific mismatch dysrationalia. It occurs when a high capacity for abstract intelligence coexists with highly irrational decision-making. Look at this diagram of a classic cognitive test. A bat and a ball together cost $1.10. The bat costs exactly $1 more than the ball. How much is the ball? Most people immediately blurt out 10 cents. Even Ivy League students confidently give that answer, but it is entirely wrong. If the ball costs 10 cents and the bat costs $1 more, the bat is $1.10. The total would be $1.20. The actual answer is 5 cents. Smart brains fail this test because they rely on fast, lazy intuition. They grab the first number that feels right instead of slowing down to verify the math. Traditional education tests for the ability to recall facts and process complex logic. It completely ignores cognitive reflection, which is the mental discipline required to pause and question our own automatic assumptions. When intelligent people skip that reflection, they fall into motivated reasoning. This is the unconscious tendency to apply your brain power only when the conclusions suit your predetermined goals. You use your intellect to defend your existing identity rather than to seek the truth. This chart from a Yale University study tracks how scientific literacy impacts belief in climate change. You might assume that as people learn more about science and math, they would converge on a single consensus based on the evidence. The data shows the exact opposite. As numeracy and scientific literacy increase, opposing political factions experience a sharp split. The smartest individuals use their extra knowledge to tear down opposing arguments and rigidly bolster their own side. Highly intelligent people don't magically avoid cognitive biases. They simply possess the mental tools needed to build incredibly elaborate, logic-tight compartments to justify their own stubbornness. This trap infiltrates the institutions we trust with our lives. In 2004, terrorists detonated bombs on commuter trains in Madrid, killing nearly 200 people. Investigators found a fingerprint on a bag of detonators near the scene. Top-tier forensic experts at the FBI confidently matched it to a lawyer living in Oregon. He was entirely innocent. The agents fell victim to earned dogmatism. This happens when deep, decades-long expertise causes professionals to rely heavily on unconscious, gist-based assumptions. They become so confident in their gut feelings that they ignore glaring contradictory warning signs. Institutional disasters rarely happen because the experts lack knowledge. They happen because the very architecture of their expertise renders them blind to their own biases. Cognitive scientists are now measuring and testing a specific antidote to this problem. They call it evidence-based wisdom. The roots of this science go back to ancient Athens. During his trial, Socrates realized a core truth. His wisdom did not come from knowing everything, but from actively recognizing his own ignorance. Modern researchers call this intellectual humility. It is the measurable capacity to accept the limits of your judgment and to actively seek out information that might prove you wrong. True wisdom isn't a passive accumulation of facts. It is an active, defensive driving system for the brain that protects us from our own absolute certainty. You can build this defensive system using specific historical techniques. Benjamin Franklin, for example, used a method he called moral algebra to force his brain into cognitive reflection. When faced with a difficult choice, Franklin would divide a piece of paper in two, writing down the arguments for and against a decision, assign them numerical weights, and let the list sit for several days. This slow, deliberate process killed his impulsive biases. Another proven psychological tool is self-distancing, sometimes called Solomon's paradox. This involves analyzing your own high-stakes life decisions from a third-person perspective, as if you were giving advice to a friend. These techniques physically de-bias the human mind. They bypass our defensive, knee-jerk emotions and force our slower, analytical reasoning to take the wheel. A high score on a standardized intelligence test might give you the mental horsepower to get into the room, but only evidence-based wisdom will ensure you don't burn the building down once you're inside.